I rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal for how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fans on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make him bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the resolve. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
Life and for those who we caught up in using what I was scarred with the muse. I guess they call it proving I'm more than an artist. Penciling out my darkest while stenciling out a harvest. And storing what gets me from A to B, just like garages. Instrumental with collages. Envision what I've been drawing. Broadway to give you rhythm like the great Lena Horne. Soul bent on, found comfort in the storm. Find peace and on when you see them others perform. Organized chaos, outcast it like hey ya.
I heard a rumor that this guy right here, Jay Boogie, presenting Knicks in the booth, is gonna be fire.
Hey. They say we everywhere. We all over the place. If you don't see us, that means you ain't nowhere. You heard? We all over. The headline of the city, the post paper, the daily paper, everywhere in the city. Knicks Chronicles, baby. Let's get it. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. It's game time, tell them, yeah, we outside. You know my voice, the young Mr. Walt Clyde. They say this year we blessed, there's some new hope. I'm courtside next to Tracy Morgan Road. We so official, every game is sold out. You see the fans, stars, them carpets rolled out. I'm on this track, NBA and a Bleach report. Don't even ask for a short, this ain't a Newport. Flash report, tell them this is just in. You see Max outside, just don't let him in. I walk the streets every day with some grown men. I go left, cross back like I'm Brunson. Who that is? Jay Boogie, I'm so nice. I need a little bit more than yesterday's price. When you see him, you tell him, your boy, I'm locked in. I'm well surrounded with fans, we in the garden. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. If you ain't orange or blue, then you can't relate. I had them toxic boys that ate your Twitter space. A lot of people right now, they on clickbait. I had your forehead looking like your Stephen A. All the real creators be on the podcast. Take a look at the chat, you get my broadcast. The forecast is scattered with a lot of rain. My 4 boys and pill jerk by Danny Ainge. New squad, new season, it's a new team. Shout out to Harlem Girl and Miss Geraldine. Play the youth, the kids, they gon' play hard. For 4 years, I just signed a 9-guard. The way we look right now, this a Nick thing. I might bring with the flow, so this here bang. Shout out the real ones that'll stay loyal. All the Nets fans, we know it's disloyal. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. When you talking to Knicks, we the biggest. Fan base in the league, we the biggest. When you see them, you tell them they the biggest. The most loyal people, we the biggest. When you come to the city and play for the Knicks, you're gonna get the biggest and most appreciated love. We the best people it is in the world that's gonna support our squad, support our team. You dig? We the biggest.
New York Knicks, we are the biggest. This is Jen from Knicks Army fan, and I want to let you know right now, if you didn't know before, New York Knicks, we the biggest, baby. Let's go. Get it, Jen. Go.
There we go. There we go. Can you hear me now? Good. Can you hear me now? Good. What's good? What's good? What's good? Sorry, y'all. I didn't do anything. The computer just went haywire. I don't know what it is, bro. But y'all know what it is. Blue tears, orange tears, orange tears. Y'all are watching the Knicks Morning Drive. I'm your main man, the number one chief rocker in Knicks Universe, Uncle Freezy. Just one of y'all. Let's get this party started right. Let's get this party started quickly. Y'all want this party started right? Y'all want this party started quickly, right? All right, let's go. Let's go. So for one, let me thank the members of the channel. Salute to y'all. Thank y'all for helping us keep this channel up and running, keeping it going. Right? Thank you to all the Patreons, man. Thank you to the Patreons everywhere, man. Without y'all love and support, you know what I'm saying? You know how it is. Yes, yes, y'all. To the beach, y'all. Y'all know what it is. Let me get this thing off on the right foot. Or a foot. Let me get this thing off on a foot. Let's do that. All right. Thank you to everybody that listened to the previous joint we did, the Knicks Update Volume 2. Just wanted to do a little joint, you know what I'm saying, before we get too deep into the season. Give you my thoughts on what I saw. Kind of like a stitch in the timeline, a benchmark place. I'll probably do it again at about 50 games. Right? Do something like that at about 50 games. Right? So what do y'all think about the kids? Tell me what y'all think about the kids. Tell me what y'all think about the kids. Right? I'm going to throw the link in the chat. All right, I'm going to throw that link in the chat. All I'm asking is don't come up here feeling like you got to cuss every other word. Don't feel like you got to come up here and your stuff is whack, your audio whack. You know what I'm saying? You got a carnival going on in the background. You don't come up here being long-winded talking about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know the rules. Y'all know the rules. Right? So a little while ago, I briefly spoke about, and I say briefly, tongue-in-cheek. I say briefly, tongue-in-cheek. Briefly, because I spoke like an hour. I still had, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I had like another 2 hours in me But for the sake of the audio podcasting platform joint, you know how it is. You just try to do what you can, right? My thing is, I think the kids are in a rough spot. I think the kids are in a rough spot, man. JJ says we need new kids. Put these kids up for adoption. Wow. And White Falcon says the kids are promising. Wow. I'm gonna say this. I agree with both, right? I agree with both because I don't want to judge the individual. I don't want to judge the group based on the performance of an individual. Yeah, feel me? The RJ Barrett thing is embarrassing. Right? The RJ Barrett thing is embarrassing. Okay? It's embarrassing. The RJ Barrett thing is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed about how Tibbs ruined RJ Barrett. I'm embarrassed. And I'm not turning on Tibbs because I don't think anybody in the NBA prepares more than Tibbs. And I don't think anybody in the NBA handle press conferences better than Tibbs. Right? When you see Tibbs at a press conference, you have a feeling like Tibbs is telling you the truth most of the time. And Tibbs don't dodge the camera. In a bad loss, Tibbs sit up there and he talk to you. And he don't talk to you with an attitude. Tibbs, he shoot it to you straight. And when you ask Tibbs a direct question, he gives you a direct answer. Right? So as far as head coaches go, all around, I mean, press conferences, coaching, I think Tibbs is a pretty good coach. Trying to cut down on this sugar, man. Trying to cut sugar out of my life, so I'm drinking seltzer water. Seltzer water. Sally, what's good, boss?
What's up, Freezy? How you been?
I've been all right. So I'm saying, man, as far as coaches go all around, I think Tibbs is a very good coach. In terms of everything he does, I do not agree. I don't agree with how RJ Barrett is being used offensively and defensively. I don't agree with how Quentin Grimes is being used offensively. I don't like how quickly is being used offensively. David Fizdale is in the building. What's the play, coach?
To get Mud right, get Moutier right. That's the play. That's what we're gonna do.
We're gonna get you right, kid.
We're gonna get Moutier back in the fold. He's only 27.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure him out.
Coach, why you not playing Trey Burks? Well, we didn't need scoring at the time. We was only down by 33. I felt like Moutier could bring us back.
With his defensive intensity and his athleticism and the ability to get to the rim.
Oh yeah, that too. So
what's up, boss?
Ain't nothing to it. I feel like I'm on the verge of a Tibbs rant, but I don't want to go there. Right? I don't want to go there until I see him live in person. So over the next 8 weeks, I think I'm going to see Tibbs in person about 5 times. I think
he may not be here.
No. That's assuming. That's assuming. You know what I'm saying? But you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But assuming, you know what I'm saying? Assuming that Tibbs wins tomorrow night and wins Friday night, you know, and whatever. But here's the thing, Dre, that I'm frustrated with, right? And I think y'all kind of heard me on the previous joint, the audio podcast. And again, Dre, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like when I do this, I'm comfortable, right? This is I'm in my zone right here.
Yep.
Like moderating, being super neutral, and just asking questions of Selly and you and others that participate. I'm in my element, right? I can be the point guard of you guys because you guys basically want to score. I don't care nothing about scoring. I care about passing and winning, right?
Yeah.
But on the last joint, I kind of almost got into my bag about Tibbs, right? And I don't want to get into my bag about Tibbs. I want to give Tibbs a fair shake, right? But I think Tibbs is ruining these kids. And no matter whether you think a certain player is a bust or not, I could point to plays on the floor that look like a certain thing is being coached into them. Right? But hey, let me do Justin DW. Thank you for your generous contribution. Don't think the kids are given enough to show out. See how that kid from the Pacers cooked up Curry? We would have no idea if our youth could do that. Thank you for that, Justin DW. That's what I'm getting at right there.
I think we actually have a decent relative idea of what they could do. Granted, it was towards the end of the season, but we had guys getting triple doubles with 30 points and dropping 40 points. Whether or not it's against the most elite of the elite talent, if you're in the NBA, you can play.
Yeah.
And if a team sees you get 40 on them, they're not intentionally just letting you get 40.
No.
They were speaking about Obi Toppin in particular. So it's we have talent. They might not be maximized to the best of their ability. Like, to be absolutely honest, unless you're just a freak talent like Derrick Rose, you can thrive. You can thrive in spite of Tibbs. But if you're just a marginal talent, he's not going to take your marginal talent and expand upon your strengths. He's just going to try to balance you out and try to make you not a complete negative. But you have to take risks if you're going for the development route, which he's not willing to take. So unless it's RJ Barrett and Julius Randle and Brunson taking the majority of the shots, that's about it.
So I have a question. How long does Steven Silas and Mobley or Mosley have a job for the Rockets or Orlando with all the losing? How long do you think they rock? Because that's what you're going to go towards, right? So you're going to be okay with losing for development, but how long does that play? How long do you allow that to happen?
Well, if we're so is that a rhetorical question or a point?
Well, it's both. It's all three in a way, Freezy, because the point that I'm saying is
but Sally, what I'm saying is that if you're asking me, then I can answer. But if then you can. But if it's not, then go ahead and cook. That's the reason why.
No. Answer the question. I would like to hear your thoughts. Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. So based on the way that you asked, what I'm gonna do is group all of these tanking / rebuilding / development coaches all in one group. The guy from OKC, and others, right? What I'm gonna say is,
well, not to cut you off, Freezy. I use Steven Silas and Mosley as prime examples. I was focusing on those two because, anyway.
Why?
But
why would you just? I'm curious.
Because OKC is kind of an outlier.
Okay.
OKC to me is they have it's a little bit of an outlier team because I think OKC will be okay with losing. For the next 2 to 3 years, just because of the amount of picks, and I don't think the Magic. You could correct me, but I don't think the Magic or the Rockets have the same type of draft capital to be able to. to be able to accept that outcome.
But
Okay.
they have drafted pretty high end talents if we're keeping a stat.
Right.
But Sully,
Let Freezy
it's
answer that,
it's
though. I'm kind of curious.
it's hold on. I was gonna jump in, but let Freezy answer, then I'll jump in.
Okay. All right. So traditionally, what happens in those type of settings, like what you mentioned, the Brian Hills of the world, right? The Keith Smarts of the world, the Vinny Del Negros, the David Fisdales. Historically, they don't last. And what happens is, and the Kenny Atkinsons, what happens is the coach that you put in place for that unit is more of a high school type coach, right? You bring in all these young talents, you teach them the fundamentals of the game, you coach the game more towards developing positive habits for an NBA player, right? The Jason kids, you know who they are. Y'all know who they are, right?
Yeah.
Once the franchise gets a taste of the championship champagne, so to speak, then those development coaches are going to get fired. All of them, Sally. All of them.
And I was going to say Brett Brown is an example of that.
Dre, let me cook. I'm trying to get the Brett Brown, bro. But I got you. I promise. I got you. Right. So and yo, shout out to Dre for reading my mind, right? But once they get to that place where they taste the champagne, like for instance, Sally, my point is, once the Rockets make the 8th seed and get into a dogfight with the number 1 seed, that coach is on the clock. The Houston coach is on the clock. Because when you make the 8th seed and say you avoid the gentleman's sweep, but say you lose 4-2 in the first round, the very next year, or right at the end of the buzzer of the elimination game, you all of a sudden have expectations, right? And once a team develops expectations to be greater than what they normally are, the coach is on the clock. That's what Tom Thibodeau is. Because Tom Thibodeau was brought in here to establish a culture, right? Once Tom Thibodeau got here and his team made the playoffs, all that establishing a culture stuff was on the side burner because the Knicks were the 4th seed in the East. And the front office, to their discredit, thought the Knicks were a top 4 team because they were a top 4 seed, right? Not recognizing that the Knicks were in a 3-way tie for the 4th seed and won all the tiebreakers. The Knicks could have been the 6th seed, right? But once you get to that point where a team develops expectations, those coaches are on the clock. See, now they go from the kindergarten field trip to how do you take this team to the next level? And some of these coaches are only going to get 1 season to do it. So to your question, as soon as they get a sip of the champagne, the coach has 1 year. And after that 1 year, the fan base is going to be like, this coach ain't the guy. He was just a bridge guy. Bring in Steve Kerr or bring in a championship level coach so that we could take this talent to the next level. And now the weird thing about it is that coach took those kids from 19-year-olds to 21, 22-year-olds. But now that these kids are 24, they don't have a use for that other coach no more, the developmental coach no more. Once they get 24, the fan bases are ready to win championships. Because remember, you told them, if you sit through all this losing, we're going to reward you with a championship. And so they sat through all that losing, right? Not just, the losing when the kids were there, but they had to lose and tank to actually get these kids. So it's the stage one tank, get rid of all the veterans, tank, hit in the lottery, right? You hit in the lottery, then you got to develop 2 to 3 years. So you're talking about like a 5-6 year process. Yeah, man. It's
almost a decade.
Yeah.
Do it.
I want to ask y'all something because this just came out right now.
Hey Jay, let Dre do his thing real quick, and then
My bad.
and then we'll do that. Go ahead, Dre.
You pretty much said a lot of what I was saying. Like these teams, like the Magic and the Rockets, and even OKC to a lesser extended more extent, they're basically doing the whole process without calling it the process. The reason why people got upset about the process is because they named it. It was completely out in the open,
They owned it.
and yeah, like they basically made it its own thing, and they put a target on their backs because of it.
Right.
In saying that, there was nothing inherently wrong about doing that because there is a means to say that there's a end game for that. Their end game is trying to win a championship. Granted, it didn't work out for Philadelphia, but once you have the generational talent like Embiid, you figure out everything else after that. You just try to keep him happy.
But they ruined the process though, Dre.
Yeah, they messed up on a ton of draft picks. They messed up on Jason Tatum trade. Yep, a lot of trades. They took them. Like they missed out on a lot of trades.
They messed up on draft picks because today they could have a starting lineup of Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, Joel Embiid, and some random guy, somebody to play the three, and somebody to play the three.
Which is the funny part is that's legitimately like the type of starting lineup that the Magic are trying to build, like a bunch of 6'10" or taller guys,
right,
at every position. 6'8", 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah,
what up, Jay Boogie?
Jay Boogie's in the building. Jay Boogie, thank you for your generous contribution. Jay Boogie says, shout out to the realest, most loyal people in the league. Blessings, health, happiness to you all. Update, pulling up for 3. All Eyes on Us, the biggest. Back on Christmas is now on every platform. This is our music. Jay Boogie, I'm gonna see if I can put the link. If I can put the link to it on the channel, not the videos, but on the channel. So when people visit the channel, then that way they can be directed to your stuff, man. I'll be trying to support Jay Boogie and all the stuff that he's doing. Sometimes I forget little stuff here and there because I'm a fogey, but whatever. All right, go ahead, Jay. My bad.
So, first of all, how are you fellas doing?
Good.
I'm good, boy.
So this just came out that Tibbs saying he's sticking with Deuce McBride in the rotation, and he told Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose said Tibbs wanted to give Deuce a look. That's all he told me, so I understood. Meanwhile, earlier he said, no, we're just giving Derrick Rose a rest day. So when does the lies just stop and we just figure out what the hell we're doing? I'm just tired of the going back and forth with the lies to us. And how does that make people like Cam feel, where he pretty much saved your job against the Sixers and you basically just banished him? For what reason? How is that helping our team progress? I'm just curious.
Well, say what it is that you want to say, because you got something on your chest. Say it.
I'm just tired of blaming Tibbs. That's what's on my chest. I'm tired of blaming Tibbs.
So you're saying that you're tired of Tom Thibodeau and you want him out of here?
No, I'm tired of his boss, because his boss is what's allowing all this nonsense to happen.
Well, why would you say you're tired of the boss, but you indict Tibbs?
Because it's basically the guy who's empowering him to make these kind of moves that make no sense. If you're gonna go with the youth, go with the youth. Don't sit here and lie. Just say this is what we're doing. We projected wrong. We're gonna, divert to a different direction.
Okay.
But if that's the case, and you're going with the youth, why are you leaving Obi still on the bench for 13 minutes? When I just hear you guys say that, yeah, he dropped 40. How we're congratulating him by his, good play 3 years later. It's not like he's been completely trashed. It's not like Cam hasn't bought into what Tibbs wanted him to do. Yeah, the young players. Yeah, they're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna bench Cam Reddish for one bad Dallas game, but we're gonna just turn a blind eye to RJ's bad games, Quickly's bad games to start the year. So I'm just a little confused what we're doing. I just feel like no young kid is safe at all on the Knicks.
So he's rolling in quickly, and and listen, I'm gonna talk basketball, right? I'm not going to talk like innuendo or you know what I'm saying, backroom stuff. I'm gonna just talk basketball for a minute, right? Tom Thibodeau has put a value on the 3-pointer, right? And if you can't generate him a 3-pointer, then he's not really interested, right? And how I know this is because in the game we played Saturday, the Mavericks, I saw Quickly come down, and Obi faked like he was coming for the dribble handoff, and he cut around his man and went baseline. Quickly saw him, right, and reversed the ball around the perimeter, right? Your natural instinct right there. Yo, shout out to Staffordon. Staffordon is in the building. What's good, my guy? What's good? What's good? What's good? What I'm saying to y'all about that is your natural instinct as a basketball player, not even a guard, is when you see one of your own players streaking to the hoop for an uncontested shot, you try to get them the ball, right? I think that was coached out of him for him to hunt for 3-pointers. Hunt for the three, hunt for the three, hunt for the three. The three or else. And if you can't get the 3, then you drive to the basket.
I'm inclined to agree.
Didn't Tim
kind of
say that
put
he
it-
told
put
Quickly,
it-
if you don't shoot the ball, I get upset?
Yep.
Yeah, if you don't shoot threes.
That's coaching?
Yes.
And who empowers that kind of coaching? The man who's employing Tibbs.
Is it empowering, or is it that Leon Rose doesn't really know basketball, so you're just gonna let Tibbs do whatever he wants?
He's always been in the business of relationships, building relationships, keeping relationships, and that's all we've been doing: signing and trading for CAA guys. That's all he knows: relationships, relationships, relationships. But if you're gonna tell me analytics, this and that, we're not doing that.
Nah. And to your point, the analytics thing is overrated, bro. Don't talk to me about analytics when I know for a fact the Knicks are horrible across the board at everything. Right? Right? The thing is, even our defense has suffered. Right? The thing is, Sally, you remember this conversation? Bench Evan Fournier. His defense sucks. Remember that?
Yep.
And we bench Evan Fournier because his defense sucks and the defense is worse.
Yeah.
Right. And so just to speak basketball, if we could just speak basketball for a minute, not Tibbs, not Leon Rose, but on the floor, right? Hartenstein has been stripped of his skills and is just playing like Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel. Right? I saw Hartenstein catch a ball at the top of the key, right? His defender had 2 feet in the paint. Hartenstein never looked at the rim for 3. Right? That's being coached out of him by Tom Thibodeau. Because you come in as a guy catching the ball in the pinch post, hitting cutters. Hey, Dre, you remember when Hartenstein used to get assists with us early in the season?
Yeah.
And now, does he look like an assist man to you, or just another big body out there to rebound and protect the rim?
Exactly. And it's no matter what rotation we put out there, a good coach will adapt to his player's skill set. But no matter who we put out there, we play the exact same. We played the same way in the first year, played the same way in the second year, playing the same way in the third year. The only difference is now the reason why we're getting lit up from 3 is that we're worse at defensive rebounding and we're worse in transition. That's the main difference.
Okay.
Because if we're going by statistically, we play the same exact defense we played in the first and second year. We may have had better 3-point luck, but we actually gang rebounded better, and we were better in transition. This year, we're terrible in transition. We're terrible at offense. I mean, getting defensive rebounds. So we're just getting obliterated on long rebounds and teams taking extra 3-point shots in transition and second chance threes. That's the main reason. And I have more statistics, but I'll get back to the main point that you were going to.
But Trey, are you a coach, Trey?
I have coached before.
What would you say that whatever you just put down so very eloquently, nicely put, that a casual fan can see it?
Yeah.
All right. So the same people that telling us that we don't watch the tape, but we can't see it, are the same people that keep doing the same thing game in, game out for the past couple of years. And this is why I wanted to come on today to say that all our kids are doomed. These are the people that are leading our kids. That's why I don't feel like none of them are safe.
It's okay to lose. The Knicks have built a culture where it's acceptable to lose. And that's why everyone hangs their head down. Yeah, it is, Trey. Because that's why I listen to the press conferences, and this is something Freezy touched on earlier in the season, they just mumble. Oh, yeah, they wanted it more than us. We got to get back to, we got to focus on the next tomorrow night. Man, there's no energy. There's no sense of urgency. You said it to me in a private conversation. This is a job. That's how they're treating it. They're just treating it like they're showing up going to work. And that's why there's a lack of effort. There's a lack of consistency. This is an attitude that a group of people have. And you know what's funny about that? There's no rhyme or reason when there's no chemistry. Like, it's just, you can put a lot of talented people together. It doesn't mean they're going to be in tune and create a good band, right? Like, I'll use a band as, you could put the best drummer and the best guitarist, but they might not vibe.
Yeah.
And I don't really see a vibe. I just see guys going to work and getting
And
paid.
I want to say, like, this is kind of like the theme for Tibbs, where the things that we're struggling at is mostly effort-based things, like weak side help, getting back in transition, fighting for defensive boards. I don't think it's from him, but I feel like that voice has paled in the locker room, because you do those sort of things when you have more effort and you play for each other. But I don't feel like he has. I don't feel like he has a hold on the team anymore like he did.
He never did. And from the outside looking in, what I see is Tibbs wanting someone to take the energy he's giving and digest it and spit it back to him. If a player on the New York Knicks were to be as intense as the head coach during a game, you wouldn't have all this drama. No one cares. Just listen to the press conference of Jalen Brunson after the Mavs game. It was just, they wanted it more than us. Well, isn't that the problem? They wanted it more than you? That is the problem. The problem is you're not playing with emotion. You're playing with intellect. Practice is for intellect. The game is for emotion. You leave the emotion away from practice. You practice with logic. But when you play, if you're not playing for emotion, you're not playing for the love of the game. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's true.
I feel like you're right in a sense, but there's also like X's and O's that are an issue where you can be the most volatile, emotional, outward guy, but if we put it plainly, that Mavs game, the Mavs took the most threes they've ever taken in franchise history, 61. They've never, ever taken that many threes. 8 teams this year have made 23 threes in a game. The Knicks have been given up 3 times. The Knicks were the 3 teams that gave up 23 or more threes. This is not by coincidence. This is by how we set our team up. And we had the same exact defense with no kind of give or change due to personnel that's changed over the years, and we're seeing the decline in the defense and it getting exploited because it's the same. Like teams know what they're going to get when they play a Tibbs
Because
team.
the New
They're
York
good.
Knicks are a
They're gonna get
slow team.
yeah,
What
but
could
you have
Tibbs
to
do
adjust the
when you
personnel.
have no one that can move those bricks for feet?
But
What can you do?
listen,
They're all
listen, Sully,
slow. They're all big,
listen,
slow,
Sully,
and dumb.
Sully, you have to adjust to your personnel. Nikola
Who are you going to
Jokic
play?
is arguably the slowest center in the league.
But he's the
And
center.
of course, but the Denver Nuggets are a top defensive rating team. While they
Right.
have their highest defensive rating, while Jokic is on the court, this is because they have principles and they design a defense around his weaknesses. Tibbs will
Right.
plot a guy in there to do a role he physically cannot do, and he has no recourse or a means to switch out of it. We
Right.
run the same defense no matter what. Nerlens Noel left, and then we put in Hartenstein, and we expect Hartenstein to do Nerlens Noel stuff.
Okay. I mean, I see that.
like
I see that.
that's not fair. It's not fair.
Right.
It's not fair to what we have here as a roster. And I feel like
Right.
while Tibbs is good with structure, if we gave Tibbs players, we'd probably be better. But I feel like a different voice would probably get a different result or a better result with the same roster.
You think that the team's inability to move quickly and to rotate is part Tibbs' fault for not adjusting to their lack of ability?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well,
You
that's fair.
can't coach.
that's a fair-
You can't
yeah,
coach
can't have
every
one without
player
the
the
other.
same. You
Right.
can't
You can't
coach
have one
every
without
player
the
the
other.
same. And we come out here seeing Hartenstein
Well,
trying
if
to
you-
be Mitch instead of being Hartenstein. It works on both ends of the court as well. Like you cannot have it both ways. And this is why you stripped down and went down to a 9-man rotation because Tibbs doesn't know what to do when he has more than he can chew. So he strips the whole thing down, and then we go back to basic principles where guys that know he can run that specific type of defense, that point of attack, fight over screens, over and over and over, which is why McBride is even in the rotation right now because Tibbs doesn't know how to play or coach with a different set of players with different skill sets. He doesn't know how to adjust, and that's solely with him being an older basketball player.
I think he does know how to do it, bro. I just think he's uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
I think he's uncomfortable. Yeah, I think he's uncomfortable with it, bro.
He does it by force.
You have an excellent point, man. And I ain't trying to. I'm not trying to discredit what you said because I agree with a lot of it, man. My only thing is the reason why he does it. I think is not because you don't coach in the NBA this long and not know how to do stuff. In my opinion, you know what I'm saying. It's all about your comfort levels and your preferences. You know what I'm saying? And Tibbs prefers a certain thing that he feels like is tried and true and will always exist in NBA basketball. But the thing about that line of thinking is as the game evolves, all the old school the game evolves to be better than the basic stuff. Right? The game evolves to be better than the basic stuff. That's why we call it evolution.
That's the Draymond Green conversation.
Yeah.
You Draymond said that. Basketball is a very simple sport. The Warriors are running the triangle offense from the 3-point line. That's what they're running. They're really running the 95 Bulls offense from the 3-point line.
Right.
Instead of Jordan being down in the post, he's, Curry is at the they're running the triangle from the 3-point line. That's basically, and they're doing backdoor cuts. That's all they're doing.
They're doing split actions with Draymond from like elbow extended, which is higher than what it used to be, used to be low block when you were in the split.
Right. Or Jordan in the mid post.
Right.
Yeah.
And Kobe in the high post. And so for those that don't know the history of the triangle offense, let me tell y'all something, man. The triple post triangle offense was not designed for a scorer like Michael Jordan to post up. It was designed for cutters to get a runway towards the basket and get layups. You get big men that can pass, and then you have cutters that cut off of bigs that read that read defenses, every cutter has a two-way go, right? And every passer reads that man's defender and anticipates the two-way go from the guy he's looking to pass to. And that's why it works, because you take a defender and you boggle his mind with, hey, which way is he going? Which way is he going? Right? But Phil Jackson took Tex Winter's offense, right? Which is not really Tex Winter, but that's another story, right? You take the triangle offense, and it's more like the essence of the triangle, in theory, is what Golden State is running today, right? In essence,
it's the evolved version.
Right. The foundational version of it is what teams like Tibbs likes to run, the foundational version. Like, get a big that can pass, put him in a situation, and he hits cutters and all this stuff, and guys get open looks at the basket. The only thing with the triangle offense is when you don't have smart players, you tend to run the same plays over and over and over again. Right. When you have low IQ players, you run the same triangle plays. You don't have a playbook. You have a play sheet. So you run the same plays over. That's why people get frustrated with the triangle and don't want to run it. Because if you're a super aggressive, low IQ player, then if you feel like, well, instead of reading the defense, I'll just jump over a guy and dunk on him, then the triangle's not for you. And if you feel like, well, regardless of what the defense is doing, I'll just shoot this three from 26 feet, the triangle may not for you unless you're Steph Curry.
Right.
But I understand. I understand where y'all are going, because Tibbs tries to run. Tibbs ran a triangle play with Julius Randle last year. And I saw Randle, when Randle heard the call, Randle dropped his head. Right. I was like, what did Tibbs just say to Randle? What's going on?
Right.
They run the play, right? Randle catches the ball on the free throw line extended. He kicks it out to Nerlens Noel in the corner, and the ball goes right between Noel's hands and between his legs and out of bounds. And Julius Randle and Nerlens Noel laugh at the same time. Like, what can you do?
I remember this play.
Yeah. What can you do? If you Nerlens Noel, you like, if you Nerlens Noel, you like, if I catch the ball in the corner, what am I going to do with it anyway? You know what I mean? Think about it. If Nerlens Noel would have caught that ball, what would he have done?
I've seen him take the three. He would have taken it and missed it, which is.
But early in the game, Taj Gibson ran the play, and Taj Gibson was at least adequate at it. And for those that don't realize it, look at this play when Randle catches the ball and Obi is in the corner for three. A lot of times, I think about 40% of the time, that is a base triangle play, right? You have three guys in a certain area that are stationary, and then you have two guys that are. But anyway,
right.
Anyway, so getting away from, because I know basketball is boring, but the Knicks are exciting, which is kind of like a weird,
dichotomy. It's weird. It's weird to say.
Yeah. When I talk basketball, like when I say RJ Barrett on a pick and roll backs up to Staten Island, Dre, let me ask you, why does RJ Barrett call for the screen and then back up all the way to New Rochelle to get a running start just to start the pick and roll, bro?
Because, well, if you want to be honest, he doesn't have the explosion to just go off the bounce and just take a pick like Donovan Mitchell or something. He needs a runway to get even with his defender, to use his strength at the rim. But then after he gets to the rim, he can't finish over actual athletic bigs.
Right, he can't finish.
But he still tries.
Because what RJ Barrett doesn't realize is when he backs up, while he's backing up to Hoboken, the defense has a chance to look at him and set a defense against him.
Yeah. It's like
they load up.
Just like a damn running back that needs a 10-yard head start.
Yeah.
Before he even catches the ball to get through the damn O-line.
Right.
And
he's not
they
Barry
load
Sanders.
up. And the problem is they load up, and then we have no off ball actions. So everyone is just staring at him doing what he's
Right.
doing with no
They see him
recourse.
coming from basically in theory, and Knicks fans, hey, Lawrence his family. Basically, what I'm getting at is the defense can see RJ Barrett coming from a mile away.
Right. It's exposed now. And this is what
Right.
happens when you don't have ball handling skills at an above average level.
And the thing is,
gotta charge.
LeBron used to do that over and over and over, but LeBron was also 6'8", 6'9",
Right.
with
And he
amazing
could
passing,
jump. Right.
and he was a tank. So it was like,
Man, we just
even
seen
if you
Luka,
see
who's
it coming,
we just see Luka, who's probably fatter and slower than RJ, do it with ease, and he's not moving fast at all
But Luka threatens you
with the shot.
horizontally and when I say horizontally and vertically, I don't mean in terms of jumping in the air, but I'm talking about in terms of spacing the floor. And once Luka gets the screen, he won't necessarily go directly at the rim. He'll weave in and out in your defense, which forces your defense to be what's the word? Undisciplined, so to speak. Right? And when they and if you're undisciplined for a second, Luka can hit Reggie Bullock somewhere for a three. Is
and
that
it's
what you
catching
want?
in the
Yeah,
pocket, in the
different-
shooter's pocket.
Right.
And Luka's a lot stronger than RJ. And it's just
Yeah.
it's not even
And a lot smarter.
and a lot smarter.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
smarter part, because I don't see why RG can't do the same thing maneuvering in the paint to find open shooters. I think he's capable of that. I don't think he has the IQ to do it.
Well, if you don't like RJ had a lesser ability at Duke where he could play make, because if you were to watch him at Duke, he was playmaking the vast majority of the time. It's just if you never give him the reps to figure that out over the course of his first 1 or 2 years, and then you'll figure out if he can or can't do it, then you put yourself in a situation where you cap what he can do. Like, he's making the same mistakes now because he never had the high enough usage to just learn on the craft, learn on the job, and fail at it. We really only saw it for the first time at the second half of last year, and now we're back to the same type of offense. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it wouldn't be
freestyle.
conducive to winning. It wouldn't be conducive to winning. Absolutely, it would not. But you're capping his ceiling if you don't try it, I guess.
Right. My deal, Dre, is this. I know we just broke down RJ Barrett and one of RJ Barrett's flaws. That backing up, why does this dude have to back all the way up to East Orange, New Jersey, to get a running start, right? And so that's one of his flaws. Here's the other flaw right here, Trey. Right? And RJ, if you're dribbling with your head up and you see the defense saw you back all the way up to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just to get a running start in this pick and roll, and you see those guys standing there, why don't you just pull up and hit a midi?
I feel like that's actually been coached out of his game.
And exactly,
Man.
because it's 3-point or dunk under Tibbs.
Okay.
Because the first 2, 3 years, he would take the mid-range shot. It may not go in all the time, but we've seen him, like, even in the last couple games, he like goes to a move, like he actually has a move, or like a little step back and a little shifty move where he can get a mid-range shot off. But he's being told, attack the rim or shoot threes. That's it. I don't want you to do anything else. Attack the rim, shoot threes.
And why is this?
If that's the case, then all of our players are doing.
Well, it's partially analytical because if you look at our sets, we teach our players to shoot a ton more corner threes, and we have guys just literally perpetually just standing in the corner.
Right.
And,
Because you have a high usage point guard that can drive to the rim, and you need that space.
We were doing that before Brunson got here. The Knicks,
you just said that you're doing it now. You're doing it more now. It's been coached out of them. It's shoot three, or I'm just going by what you said, and I'm looking.
I'm saying, I agree, Sully. But like the principle of us taking more corner threes. If you looked at the team pre-Tibbs and after Tibbs, he wanted us to shoot a ton more corner threes, and we did.
Right.
If you looked at if I could find the shot chart for each year, you would see that our corner shot our corner shot percentage it spiked. It spikes underneath Tibbs. So Tibbs wants us to take corner threes He doesn't want us to take above the break threes as much. He wants to live by corner threes, which is why Reggie Bullock had a good year with us, where it's corner three, and we see Obi in the corner almost all the time, waiting for the ball. And RJ takes a ton of
And
corner
Reddish
threes.
in the corner.
Yeah, so that's what we do. And our playmakers are the guys that are above the break, which is why we don't see Randall or Brunson take a ton of corner threes. Because they're the guys that are supposed to break down the defense and find the guys in the corner.
So if that's the case, where are you developing these young guys, even though they're
You're
getting
not.
on-court experience?
They're not.
You're
They're not
developing
being
Jalen
developed.
Brunson.
So
That's who you're developing.
everybody we have on our roster, they're doomed.
Jay,
Jay.
this is what I'm saying. Like Tibbs is good at developing role players. He's not good at developing a guy that's a good guy and taking him into superstardom unless he gives them a ton of usage off the go, like Randall. He's not going to make Obi become better than what he is. He's not gonna make Grimes turn into Desmond Bain all of a sudden, where you see Desmond Bain shoot above the break threes off the dribble at random when he feels like it. He's not going to elevate a guy that's a middling talent into superstardom. He's going to make
you're 1,000% correct, because Grimes looked near great playing defense, but offensively, oh my God, he's been bad.
What changes from practice to the game? Where was all this conversation? Like, I don't get it. I'm just wondering how they're practicing. What's going on in the practice talks? Like, what comes out of the practice sessions?
The same thing over and over and over again. He's not going to change.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what you're going to do different.
That's why I said I'm tired of blaming Tibbs. We know, but he's been the same way for 3 years. He's not going to effing change.
Oh,
so why do we keep doing it to ourselves?
Right.
And the guy who's petrified of firing him because he's afraid of his relationships is just gonna let this keep going on, and we're gonna be nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay. The season is gonna end. We'll be 12th, 13th in the lottery. We're not gonna trade for a superstar. We're not gonna trade up in the draft. We're not gonna do nothing. And guess what we're gonna do next year? Hey, let's do this again with Julius and RJ.
Run it back.
We're going to be the same place next year again.
Right. Run it back. Yeah.
It is the definition of crazy, right? Doing the same thing over and over. So it's legitimately at this point crazy organization.
I saw a tweet. And this is more of an indictment on Leon Rose, where we had this conversation last night, Freezy, where they always try to run back and try to run away from the moves that they made. It was a tweet by Tommy Beer, and I'm gonna read it. In 2021, Leon Rose signed Fournier, Derrick Rose, Burks, Noel, and Kemba to multi-year deals that combined for $192 million. And last February, Rose traded a first-rounder for Cam Reddish. Last night, in an important game, none of those 7 players played a single minute for the Knicks.
Yeah.
It screams of not really knowing what you're doing and trying and failing, and then trying to run it back, and then throwing Tibbs out there to figure it out. This mess.
Because Tibbs is Leon's basketball guy, so he's trusting Tibbs' experience throughout his years of basketball to lead this group. Where Tibbs' experience is not in the new way of playing basketball. Those days are done.
And that's not just like there's also an indictment on Tibbs, because if we're keeping it 100, there's guys that came from the same Tibbs coaching tree, like Mike Malone. Mike Malone is
like
exactly
John
from
Borrega.
Yeah, they're exactly from the Tibbs coaching tree. Yeah, but they've figured out a way to adjust to the modern game a little bit better than Tibbs did.
Well, why does Tibbs need to adjust if he won Coach of the Year 2 years ago? In his mind, he's like, I can still make this work.
Yeah,
it worked because we had more players that fit his style.
There's no fans in the stands.
We can't expect him to change.
And structure. He's big on structure, but structure can handicap players to a certain extent.
We were told that this would be a much better season for the simple fact that we finally got a point guard. And it looks nice. Jalen Brunson is a point guard. But why are we still having the same conversations?
If Jalen Brunson wasn't here, the Knicks would have won like 4 games.
I know, but the whole point is like, you know what? We can be a lot better with a damn point guard. Well, we got that point guard.
You think the Knicks would have only won 4 games if Jalen Brunson wasn't there?
Yeah.
I don't
No.
know. Maybe
Maybe
not.
less.
No. I think what are the Knicks right now? The Knicks are what, 11 and 13?
Y'all giving JB that much credit?
Yes.
No,
Come on,
not
man.
not just no.
Oh,
It's
I
not
am.
just that though. It's not just it's not Brunson, bro. It's the way we play with Brunson. It's the way we play with the point guard or with a guard.
But everybody's
for
gotten
instance-
worse.
So for instance, I'll give you an example. Right, there are times in the game where the Knicks offense just bogs down. Right. And Jalen Brunson will get in his bag and go score. Now, here's the thing that Selly and I agree on, and Knicks fans will probably think that I'm a hater. I'm not. I don't think Jalen Brunson is a traditional point guard, right? I think
Appreciate
Jalen
that.
Brunson is a combo-ish guard that can do point guard stuff. But I would really like to see Jalen Brunson with a real point guard,
Right.
right? If you put Jalen
Just a
Brunson
big
with
playmaker.
yes, like ideally, and I know this is going to sound bananas. I would love to see Jalen Brunson and a LaMelo type guard together, right? And listen, I know it'll never happen,
Right.
I know it'll never happen because we're not going to get LaMelo personally, but I'm talking about a big playmaker of that type, right? And then what that does is when you get back on defense, right? When you get back on defense, because here's the reason why the Jalen Brunson experiment is neutral and not positive. Jalen Brunson on defense is awful, atrocious, and I know he takes charges. And people, oh man, he took a charge the other night, Uncle Freezy, but the other team had 100+ possessions. A team on most nights. Think about a team on most nights. Don't go by shots. Go by possessions, right? Because say if a team takes 100 shots, that means they probably had about 115, 120 possessions. Because you have to account for the turnovers and the fouls and all these things in the game, right? Right? And if you're telling me out of 130 possessions, Jalen Brunson took one charge, that's
It's not that
awful.
much. Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's not that impactful unless it was a charge like in a Memphis game, where that one charge call, you know what I'm saying, tips the balance of the game. It takes 2 points off the board, and in a 2-point game or in a tie game, right? And the reason why I say Jalen Brunson's defense is atrocious is because one, at the tip, if the other team wins the tip and the point guard brings the ball down, immediately the first thing you see is RJ Barrett or Quentin Grimes or Cam Reddish guarding the other team's point guard.
And Brunson scrambling to find the small forward that can't really shoot on the other team.
Yeah, right.
And Brunson can't always throw the pass hard enough or out of the paint when he gets in there because of his limited height. There's Jalen Brunson.
He's a Smurf.
And it affects him, but it won't affect him if he's not the primary PG. If he can go back to the role he had on Dallas, you're going to get – the team is going to become better. Like, even if you just went to San Antonio and picked up that Trey Jones or whatever, just somebody else that can drive and kick to give JB – I mean, is JB going to be able to do this all year? I mean, the way he's playing, I mean, literally you're looking at Kyrie Irving numbers. He's not Kyrie Irving.
No, he's not going to be because right now at the moment he's dinged up.
Yeah, and he's going to get worse and worse because all you got to do to Jalen Brunson in a 7-game series is just beat that body, beat it, hit it, post him up, bang him.
But you know what though, Selling?
If
we get in a 7-game series, that's a win for us.
And that goes back to I understand, but that goes back if you get to the playing game against the Wizards, you're happy,
right?
But you know, let's just say let's just put that as an example. That'd be fun. Let's go an example, playing game versus the Wizards, because that's a highly likely probability. Jalen Brunson is going to be picked on.
Right.
So
by who? Bradley
on
Beal?
That team? Well, Bradley Beal, Kuzma.
Bradley Beal. Okay.
Bradley Beal and Kuzma are going to rotate
I think that's actually one of the only teams that Brunson would actually naturally guard the team's point guard.
Okay, Monty Morris.
Yeah, Monty Morris. He would actually guard Monty Morris because
And Morris might
he
go.
for sure can't guard Kuzma or Beal.
And that's the thing about the Wizards is they don't need to go. They have a roster full of big ball handlers. They got big guards. They don't have, not all their guards are 5'11". So, but that's going to be where you're at. And I don't think JB is going to be able to last the whole season. And if you guys don't start winning, they're going to pull them. You won't even get Jalen Brunson the last 20 games of the season. So, this is where you're going with it. And I think the Knicks need to go into San Antonio and pillage their roster. Let San Antonio be the guy that rebuilds with all the picks, and you need to go get Vassell or Keldon Johnson or both, and give them whatever they want. And now you got a legitimate team.
What if I told you Keldon Johnson is shooting worse than RJ?
Yeah, the Keldon Johnson one, I'm not really, but
he has potential. I like Keldon Johnson. He started out the season hot, but then he's literally shooting worse than RJ, which is crazy to say. But Devin Vassell, he's nice. He's very nice.
Yes,
he's not.
I take either one of them.
They try to run him at point guard. He's not really a natural point guard per se.
No,
he has playmaking ability. He can do it, but he's like an all around guard with range.
Keldon Johnson, career 3-point percentage is 37%. I'll roll the dice on him. I would roll the dice on him if I was the Knicks. If I could get Vassell or Vassell.
Absolutely. Keldon's potential, you roll the dice. Right. You roll the dice with Keldon. I'm just saying, like in the last maybe 15 games, he's shooting like.
The Spurs 20%. The Spurs are tanking, bro. They're going to
big time.
They're definitely playing to lose. They don't care. That's why they let DeJounte Murray go. They were like, "Go win your ring," because you're not in our business plans. Not saying that you're not the guy, but our business model doesn't involve you.
It's like they're like they already like figured, okay, we really need like a superstar here. You're a good player, but we're gonna take what we can get from you value wise and just start over.
Exactly. We're gonna build the team again, and it's gonna be through draft picks and trades. And I think that the Knicks there's a good opportunity in San Antonio for the Knicks to maybe send some of those picks they have and make up for the Donovan Mitchell miss preseason. And then give you guys something to play for going into the play-ins or the playoffs. Make a push. Come on, man. Let's make a push. I mean, the Knicks are right there. They're right there with a mature coach to be able to get into the playoffs and avoid the play-in and get you what you want, that 5-game series or 7-game series. That's what I'm seeing. Like push it.
Sully, I would, and so for the Knicks fans that are watching, I'm not saying, when I agree with Sully on a move, what I'm saying is do a move to improve, not a move just for the sake of a move. I'm entertaining the thought. Like I'm not pushing a narrative. Like the only one I feel like the only thing I feel like the Knicks should consider strongly without a reasonable doubt is the SGA trade. Consider it, and the move for Devin Vassell.
Yeah.
Because he does what Quentin Grimes does at a higher level. Devin Vassell is what you want Quentin Grimes to be.
Yeah.
And to me, Devin Vassell is basically Mikal Bridges plus.
Who I want Quentin Grimes to be is that guard off of Memphis. That's who I wanted Quentin Grimes to be.
You want him to be Bane?
Yeah, but
Dylan Brooks.
No, that's Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane. I do.
Yeah. Because I think Grimes is not gonna ever be Desmond Bane, right? Because there's a mindset with Bane, right? You have to be born or have to have years of this certain mindset. Desmond Bane has it. Quentin Grimes does not, right? And but Dylan Brooks, if you just want a junkyard dog that can defend at a high level and get better over time. Yeah. A dude that may have bounced around up and down, G League guy, and I'm not saying Grimes is G League. I'm just talking about Brooks right now. up and down guy
I'm not.
out of
I'm not. I'm not the highest on Dylan Brooks in my opinion. He shoots just as badly as RJ does. He just may
But
play a little bit better defense.
a lot better.
He's yeah. He plays a lot better defense, but right, like for his career, he shoots worse than RJ.
But here's the thing.
230.
Here's the thing, though. Selling. I mean, I'm sorry, not selling. I'm sorry, selling for.
Dre.
But here's the thing, Dre. You're comparing Grimes, a 28.7% 3-point shooter, to Desmond Bain shooting 40%.
Oh no, I said I want him to be that. I ain't say he was gonna be that. No,
I'm just talking about the comp. I'm talking about the comp, though.
Because he shot 38 last year, but this year I don't know what he's on.
It goes to show you how far off we are. We're Grimes should really be casted as your first two guard off the bench. That's his role on a legit NBA team where we're touting him as our two guard of the future.
No.
Like, this is where our problem is.
That is exactly where our problem
Quentin Grimes is not better than Austin Reeves.
You know what I mean? Like,
No.
This is where we have to start really. Quentin Grimes is not better than Austin Reeves on the Lakers. Quentin Grimes is not better than a lot of guards that would never see the floor on a top 3 seed NBA team.
But Sully, he's untouchable.
Right. And that's what listen, I'm not, it's almost like misery loves company in a way, but the reality of it is I don't understand how anybody in their right mind saw him and said, oh, we can't include him in the Spider trade. Like, what? That's exactly the player you trade, just like the Lakers traded THT. Why did the Lakers let go? I'd rather have Horton over Grimes. At least Horton can finish at the rim with a tomahawk dunk. Like, at least Horton can go to the rim and has a 7'1" wingspan, and actually, like he's more diverse, he's more versatile in who he can guard. And the Lakers sent him.
He could be more of a Bane comp. Now the shooting ain't. But if you're talking about body type and what they do without the shooting, he's more of a Bane type guy. You know what I'm saying? But
But I mean,
we always do that. We keep pushing these guys in a role that they're not in. We did the same thing with Tim Hardaway.
That's
you send him to Dallas, and guess what? He finds the role that he's best suited for. But over here, we need him to be our number 1, number 2 next to Kristaps. Like, it's just crazy. We keep doing this with our players, man.
Here's what I would say: if you took the Orlando Magic and put them in New York Knicks uniforms, and took the New York Knicks and put them in Orlando Magic uniforms, Wendell Carter would be talked about every single night. This is the gift and the curse of playing in the Big Apple.
No, you know what the GM will do with Orlando? Yeah. If this was his roster, he'll sell everybody and he'll go full tank.
Yeah, he would. The Orlando guy would. But could you imagine Banchero in New York?
Oh my God!
Right? Like these are the.
We'd be chanting MVP.
Yeah.
Banchero we wouldn't even be mad that the team is 5-17 like the Magic if we had like a symbolism of hope.
If y'all go crazy for Mitchell Robinson, imagine having Wendell Carter here. Oh my goodness!
So I don't know if the young guy that comes in can deal with that.
Sure. Imagine having Bobo here right now.
Oh, Bobo! Oh God! I'd love to see Bobo in New York. I think it'd be a great city for him.
Yeah, man.
Man, if we're keeping it real, the average New York fan is soft on RJ, and he's done less than like one of these. If we had a player like Paolo, for example, we wouldn't say anything about Paolo for 8 years. There would be we wouldn't say anything negative about Paolo for 8 years. That's how talented he is.
Hey, Freezy, remember over the summer?
RJ, not anywhere
remember over the summer, Freezy, when we said that we would consider Miles Bridges before the crimes that he committed over RJ, and we got eviscerated for that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. We keep posting up our young, man. We got to be realistic.
Yeah,
we have got to be realistic, bro.
Yeah,
we've got to be realistic. But at the same time, man, I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. I ain't gonna hold you. I think, excuse me. As soon as Tibbs is fired, the next coach is gonna come in and let these young kids play. And when they do, and I like Tibbs, right? Yeah, I know I like Tibbs, right? Because he's rock steady. Tibbs is a ham sandwich at coach. like he's steady, bro. He rocks steady. Now, if you expect a ham sandwich to be a steak dinner, that's not Tibbs' fault. That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? The thing with Tibbs is not going to evolve. He's going to give you the basic fundamentals of the game. He's going to give you these press conferences that are just coach speak and all that stuff. He's going to protect his front office. He's going to protect his players and all that stuff, right? But if you expect Tibbs to be Donnie Nelson, that's not Tibbs' fault. That's your fault, right? And I hate to say it in a sense like that. I hate to be sobering, but if we look at things for what they are and not what we want them to be, then I think we'll be in a better mindset as we go forward. You know what I'm saying? Like we can temper our expectations, right? Like for instance, I think Tibbs has the handcuffs on Quickly. He wants Quickly to be one thing, and Quickly is built to be something else, right? What Quickly is built to be, right? And I struggle with this, right? Because I watched Quickly. I think I saw Quickly play twice live in college, and Quickly was a passer first and a shooter, right? Like knock down the open shots, right? This is when Quickly played with Ashton Hagans and Tyrese Maxey. Now, if Quickly was that guy with John Calipari and he's this guy with Tom Thibodeau, I struggle to think that John Calipari is a better coach than Tibbs. I think Tibbs is a better coach than Calipari, but when you compare what you see him with one guy versus what you see him with another guy, it makes you think, has the game passed Tom Thibodeau by? Bro, I saw with my own eyes Emmanuel Quickly throwing lobs to Tyrese Maxey. I saw this with my own eyes. I don't need videotape. I was there. I was in Columbia, bro. I watched this. I watched him run the same play over and over. Quickly turns the corner. The defense step up. They throw the lob to Maxey over the backline defense.
So who do you think Quickly could be? Like if he was playing with no handcuff, like what's a good comp for him, Friesen?
CJ McCollum.
Wow. Okay.
Right. Let's assume
that's nice.
Let's assume not CJ right now.
Right. I got you. Yep.
But I'm talking about third year CJ.
Right.
Would be third year Quickly, and then fourth year CJ. Quickly would be fourth year that, and then so on and so on. Dame Lillard said it out of his own mouth that Quickly is a star in this league. Damian Lillard said that, right? Damian Lillard said that, right? Now, who would you trust more, Tom Thibodeau or Damian Lillard? See, Damian Lillard has been a star in this league,
right? So
he recognizes a star, right? I'm just thinking Tibbs has the shackles on these kids, bro, because he's trying to establish something. And at some point, we have to Brett Brown, Tom Thibodeau, basically.
Right. And I see the NBA going that way, more like player coaches. And who's in all the teams that have gone that direction, it seems to work. I mean, look what Billups is doing down there in Portland. I mean, Anthony Simons, like that kid. And that's a player coach.
So Leon,
it's funny. It's funny. I was gonna. It's funny, Sully. In Anthony Simon's rookie, I think second year it was rookie year. Towards the end of the year, he was dropping 40-point games, and they still benched him. They benched him and put the shackles under him, and he was behind what's his name, CJ McCollum, and they were still developing him. But you could see the talent. But nobody else was because he dropped 40, he should just diminish it.
Simons was a great scorer, but a terrible basketball player.
Exactly.
And you can be both. Trust me, I see this on a nightly basis.
Shout out to Alonzo Trier. Shout out to Alonzo Trier.
Shout out to Trey Burke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my deal with that is that I just want to use this example because since since Dre brought it up. Dre, they were playing Simons and Gary Trent Jr. together. You remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that off the bench? And
Yep.
those two together, you knew that backcourt off the bench was special. So much so that trade Damian Lillard rumors was circulating.
Yep.
Right? And so the thing about Quickly and RJ and Grimes and Cam is you don't see Tom Thibodeau allowing these kids to play bad basketball in order to develop into great players. Get all that bad basketball out of your system. Learn how to be an NBA player by making mistakes, right? But what Tibbs is doing is every mistake they make, he's critiquing it. Like you made a mistake right here, come to the bench. I'm gonna talk to you. You made a mistake.
And that's
right
expectations. That's Tibbs' expectations is I got you.
Yeah, and it's the exact reason why Steve Kerr is ruining Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, and Jonathan Wiseman right now. Or was it
Because
James Wiseman?
they can't. He doesn't have time for them to make mistakes.
Right.
He only has time to win to maximize Curry's window.
Right. And Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's not a spring chicken, bro. Steve Kerr's not a spring.
Not anymore.
Steve Kerr, like 60, 58, 59, 60?
He's in his 50s. I don't believe he's in the 60s yet, though.
Well, when you have an all-time great like Curry, you
He's
understand
57.
the sacrifice. You understand the
57,
sacrifice to winning now. There's nothing close to that on our roster. What is the sacrifice for?
Julius Randle.
Say that one more time.
You understand the sacrifice the Warriors are doing to their young because they have an all-time great in Curry.
Okay.
What is the sacrifice on our roster? Where's that player?
Tibbs. It's Tibbs.
Yeah, it's
not
Tibbs.
a player, it's Tibbs.
So a coach that never won a championship is an all-time great coach?
This is all about Tibbs. I see what
it's Tibbs, bro.
He's a very good coach, but he's never going to produce.
Rose, this is why I'm so upset, and I'm just trying to keep my composure. What are we waiting for?
Jay, on Tibbs.
Jay, like when we first, I wasn't on YouTube and all these platforms like that at the time.
I'll be right back, y'all.
But the general consensus was people really didn't want to hire Tibbs because we knew who he was. We all knew who he was. People were like, maybe we should get Ken Atkinson to develop younger players, this, that, and the third. Now we're getting to see what Tibbs is when we all knew who he was 4 years ago before we even hired him. And now we're stuck in the same predicament because of nepotism. We all knew who Tom Thibodeau was, but we all ignored it because we got happy over that 4 seed that could have been easily a 6 seed, and we overachieved in a season with nobody in the stands. And now we're back in the same situation we were 3 years ago, just with more contracts. It's almost infuriating. Like, we legitimately probably wasted 3 years. The only thing we compiled was late first round picks with protections on.
It's amazing what a 7-game winning streak caused our future of our franchise. Because we were 500 or a game under 500 before that, and then we just right up to the 4th seed.
We took whatever good basketball was left in Derrick Rose's body and ran that into the ground, and then after that, we got bamboozled into thinking this is sustainable. So we re-signed a bunch of journeyman players, then realized they weren't it, and then we signed a bunch of one-way guys that are on their last legs, and Kemba and Fournier, and realized that wasn't it. And then we started viewing Randall as this cornerstone guy when he really isn't.
Randall
was our downfall.
Randall is a role player on a championship basketball team.
This is the way I see it, right? If you're gonna build around somebody, it has to be somebody that's worth it. Can you build the perfect roster around Randall and feel like you can't compete in the NBA? I think no. Can you build a perfect roster around RJ and feel like you can compete? I say no, because those guys don't have what it takes to win a championship. But can you build a perfect roster around Victor Wembanyama and possibly win an NBA championship. Yes,
Well,
possibility is there. Same thing with
Victor's
Scoot.
going to be interesting.
That's yet
You know,
to
same
be
thing with
seen.
Scoot Henderson. So
But
if you're
the
smart,
upside is there.
if you're smart and you know that that's your best avenue of approach, just do it. Don't be a prisoner of that 4th seed. Just do it. That's the end game to win a championship, right?
They're just scared, man.
They're caught, and right now the question is, can you build a championship roster around Jalen Brunson? It's not Randall or RJ. It's Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is the number 1 on the New York Knicks. It is not Randall or RJ. So that needs to be accepted by the fan base too.
He's the number 1 right now, and this team is not. You can see how good that team is. So,
right, that's what I'm saying. Is the question is, who do you bring in to complement Jalen Brunson's game?
The ideal is just a big playmaking wing that's better than Jalen Brunson. That's the ideal. But if we're trying to compete right now, just a big playmaking wing, like some sort of Iguodala type player, like when Iguodala was on the Nuggets or something.
So if you go to Toronto, and if they're willing to blow it up, maybe you can get maybe you can get a Siakam, or maybe you can get an OG.
Sully, it doesn't matter, Sully. It doesn't matter.
Siakam is better than anyone on the Knicks by far.
I understand, but it still doesn't do it.
Siakam would definitely boost the Knicks. Oh yeah,
but for what? What is the end goal?
Maybe that would be a second round team. And I wouldn't say you could build it around. I don't want to say you could build it around Siakam, but Siakam is like
that's what we're happy with.
Siakam is a B tier star. Like he's beneath the superstars, but he's a very, 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 very good player.
Yeah, I guess Siakam within 2 years, y'all gonna be talking about an upgrade. I promise y'all.
Siakam's a guy you could always trade after you had him too. He's a nice asset to have, man, because he demands a lot. So that's another problem with the Knicks.
Siakam is also being used to his strengths. Like, do you think Tom Thibodeau would use Siakam correctly? No.
So you're telling me a coach that can coach is using his player's strengths? Oh wow, the wonders of that.
Yeah.
Well, the Raptors have their own problems.
Siakam's in Toronto playing center right now, putting up all NBA numbers.
Or whatever that guy's name is in Toronto. He needs to start having his feet held to the fire too, because it isn't like he's assembled such a great squad when the Raptors have a lot more talent than the Knicks.
He bought himself time because he won a title. At least he bought himself time when he made the big ball move.
Title. It wasn't.
Yeah, but you got to make the move you got to make the move, and a lot of franchises like the Knicks wouldn't have made that move.
I feel you. I'm not going to take away that from him, but it was a rental. It was a New York. It was a rental, right? He didn't build the dynasty. He plugged in a GOAT.
It was a rental, but he had the players that fit perfectly around the rental,
right?
Like a glove.
But he couldn't keep.
And he traded, he traded basically the number 1 guy in the history of the Toronto Raptors for it. Do you think a guy in his front office would trade Randall? First, we wouldn't even do it. We wouldn't even do that. We look at Randall like he's a god here for some reason. That front office.
I'm telling you, it's the man making the decisions. He values this relationships that he has with the Knicks.
Yeah, they traded DeRozan and put.
He's not. Leon Rose is not going to trade his former client Randall, who's part of CAA, to a team just because it doesn't work. He will not do that. So the simple fact that he operates off of relationships, he's not going to fire Tibbs the way we want him to. He's going to wait to the last possible. You know what? It's even a greater possibility that Dolan fires Leon and Tibbs before Leon decides to fire Tibbs. It might take Dolan to fire everybody for us to see no more Tibbs.
It would take Dolan to scorch the earth.
Yeah. I don't see Leon doing it.
The good news for the Knicks is there's a lot of teams in the East that are in worse situations than you.
I would only say, as far as like temporarily and going forward, the only team that's like, I mean, we have picks, but the only team like for sure that is in a worse situation now is the Bulls. The Bulls are in
The
trouble.
Bulls, the 76ers, that's a dumpster fire. Like it's just bad.
I don't
So
know. I don't know.
they're not
I don't
going
know. I
don't
don't
anywhere,
know
know how
Dre.
you guys
They're
are
not
saying the
going
Knicks are
anywhere.
better off than these teams. I'm sorry.
I feel like the Sixers still have a chance to put it all
Chance
together.
to
They
do
just had
what?
injuries to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, in
They're
my opinion.
always going to be okay, but they're always going to have injuries because of the age, and they're very limited. And Joel Embiid's never healthy, and it's just the same story with them every year.
The simple
The
fact
Ye-
the Sixers got Embiid, they can either compete for a championship or sell Joel Embiid, and the moment they do either or, they'll be better off than the Knicks.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
Let's
like
be real.
you
Let's be
like
real.
Sully,
yeah,
like to keep it all the way 100. No matter what happens with the Sixers, injuries or not, they have two All NBA talents and a guy that's going to be an All Star in Maxey. Do we have any of that on the Knicks?
No. And if
no, but
anybody says the Hornets, y'all forget LaMelo Ball still hasn't played yet. So let's leave him out of the equation.
Joel Embiid and Harden 2 years from now, they're going to be. I'm not irrelevant, but they're not going to be relevant at the level that they are now. I mean, I don't
They'll
see it.
be they'll fetch a lot more than what we can get for Randall. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
They'll be better off the moment they decide to do either or. They're still better off than the Knicks.
But they're going to have to blow that up. I mean, that's my opinion. They're going to have to blow it up, and I think the Heat are going to blow it up, and I think the Wizards are going to eventually blow it up. They
The
got like
amount of
5 teams.
the amount
They're
of
going to
picks they
blow
can
it up.
need, plus the tanking part on their part, they're
Hey,
they're better off than us.
you know they're not like afraid of tanking.
No.
So the Sixers, they're not afraid of tanking. When it comes down to it, they're done tanking right now because they're all in on trying to build something around Embiid. But the moment Embiid is like, you know what, I want to go, they gonna get 4 first rounders, 2 young players, 3
From who?
swaps. Somebody, if Gobert went for that, somebody's paying for Embiid.
Whoa, bro. I was going to ask you guys this. What do you think about trying to go after D'Angelo Russell?
No,
No? Okay.
no, he is
We'll
finished.
be in
He
the
is
same
cooked.
we'll be in the same
He is
place we're at
cooked.
now.
He's
Okay.
what, D'Angelo Russell next to Brunson?
That's what I was asking. I didn't know if that was like, you seem like you're getting pretty cheap.
No. He's expiring. The only reason you would take him is if to get like a bad deal off your books. But to be absolutely honest, the market for him is down, is depressed because he looks like a shell of his former self. He
Really?
can't
He looks
score
that
like
bad?
he used to. His injuries have
Why
affected
is
him. He
Austin
never could play
Rivers on a
defense
roster?
because he's a
That's
vet.
what
It's,
yeah.
it's NBA politics,
Yep.
and being like cool with a lot of people. Because like he wouldn't have lasted in the league to even build a rep if it wasn't for Doc Rivers. He would have been out of the league if it wasn't for his father. But he built a rep as a vet, and that's why he stays.
Yeah.
Like he probably has a year more maximum tops.
Do you
But it's
guys
like
really think the Knicks are that good in a position asset wise moving forward?
A
I
what?
think we're in a pretty solid position asset wise if we're thinking of just starting from scratch and trying to build up with like newer, younger players from the draft. Even
Is
if we
that
were to take even if we were to take 60 cents on the dollar for like Julius Randle or something, we would probably be in a better position than just winging it and then trying to get like a patch move for a guy. Like it's like they want to talk about targeting Zach LaVine and stuff like that, and it's just giving me a migraine, man. No, bro,
Yeah, Zach
no.
LaVine belongs on a team that's like the Bucks or the Mavs or a team that's
He makes
competing
too
where
much money though. That's the problem.
I know. Yeah. A lot of these contracts these players got done screwed everything up, to be honest with you. I mean,
It's like
it's
the Bulls had no choice but to give him that money. They had absolutely no choice but to. But at the same time, they're in just like a rough place, man. Because I don't believe like a team is willing to give up so much for Zach LaVine because Number one, he has had 3 surgeries on his knees, and his deal is $200 something million. So if he has like one injury,
Yeah,
you're on the hook for a terrible contract for
it's like
three,
the
4 years.
Clippers with Kawhi.
At least Kawhi is an All NBA MVP type performer.
No, I
You're
got you,
not
but it's
getting
the
that
same
out of
thing,
Zach.
right?
So
They don't have any, the injuries. The Clippers aren't. Clippers were one of my favorites this year to go a long ways, but I don't see it. Not now.
they
They almost
they
lost
they
to Charlotte
still
last
they
night.
they still might be. I mean, they're like 14-11, and they didn't have PG and Kawhi for a lot of it, so they're still hovering around. And if you can get into the playoffs with that talent, anything can happen. When
Yeah,
you have
anything can
two of
happen
those
if
guys,
Kawhi is healthy in the playoffs.
So
yeah.
basically, just listening to you guys, there's no real attractive player that we can get right now. The
Not
league
really.
already,
Exactly.
the
Yeah,
league
Zach
already
Levine.
told us what they thought about our draft picks. That's not really a top tier draft picks. That's not
Zach
our
Levine.
own. And the players that we want to sell, we just re-up them for 4 more years in Randall and RJ. These are our pieces to build.
My if I were the owner of the New York Knicks, and I'm not gonna wave from this, I would go to the Minnesota Timberwolves and I would literally try to steal Anthony Edwards from that team.
And why would he do that?
And I would pay more than what he's worth.
But
Just
you
to
can't
get
pay
down
enough
to
for
You
Anthony
mean
Edwards.
pay more than he's worth today
today.
because you don't know what he's going to be worth in the future.
I want that
and that's what the Knicks are gambling on.
Right.
That what he is today is not going to be the same player that he'll be in the future, and that overpay that you pay today is based on that same theory that once he gets to the Knicks, he'll be a better version of what he is with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and not because your coach is a genius, but because he'll progress and get older because you poached him as a young player.
He's 21. He's 6'5", 230. He can jump out of the building.
Sully, we know all this. Why would the Wolves ever do that for you?
Because they made such a horrible, like literally what they did with Rudy Gobert, Jay, was probably on par with one of the worst business dealings in professional sports history. They have no
probably
future.
Be better off trading Cat than.
Well,
than
I would have said that until
you couldn't give enough. You couldn't give enough for Edwards.
Well, I would have said that until I saw what the Texas Rangers paid for Jacob deGrom.
Yeah,
but yeah, you are what the Rangers paid for. But you gonna give an injury prone dude 6 years,
right?
And banking he gonna stay healthy, hoping he gonna stay healthy with you. But
you could offer Minnesota every young guy we have 8 draft picks, and
they would have to take it. Jay.
They would still wouldn't do it.
I think they would because they have to. They
still wouldn't.
They're going to lose him to free agency.
That's fine. They have another 5, 6, 7, 8 years to wait till that time to come.
I don't think so. I don't think Anthony Edwards.
Nobody turns down the max, the rookie max. Nobody turns down the rookie max.
And the reason why you don't turn down the rookie max extension, for one, is because even if you're traded to another team, you're not going to be able to get the same amount of money as because you can get a max with the new team, but you won't be able to get the rookie max extension, right? You just get, what I'm saying.
Also, Freezy, it's legitimately locking in the first piece of generational wealth.
Yeah.
It's locking in that that $200 million, and then you think about whatever next after that.
Right.
That's why you see the guys make their big move after their first deal.
Yeah.
After their first deal, they start creating.
And then they ask to be traded.
Yeah. More than anything, Cat is going to be the one to get traded. Then
don't take him. Don't bring him.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying in general, for their business, their franchise, they're moving away from Cat way before they're moving away from Edwards. That's not even in the realm of possibility. That guy can be a top 5 NBA player in no time. They're not getting rid of that.
Okay.
Unless
that's
you get
what
the
I would
number 1
do.
pick or the number 2 pick in this year's draft is the only way I can see you getting Edwards. And you're not giving up those picks for Edwards neither.
Right. What about if you went down to Miami?
Huh?
Say that again?
I said, what about if you went down to Miami with a bag and tried to get Tyler Hero and Bam?
I mean, who will we be removing from the roster?
Randall.
Well, you got all those picks. The point I'm trying to say is
You didn't have to sell.
You
wouldn't have
got
to
all
even
those
offer them
picks.
picks.
That's what I had to ask you earlier. What is
Randall.
the value of these picks that we have? We guys shown this summer that they don't really care about these values. They want our own unprotected.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'm thinking Randall and Jimmy Butler together. See, because in
that'd be nice.
Miami, and see in Miami and New Yorkers are hardcore and sensitive at the same time, which is like a weird thing. Like, how are you like a sensitive thug? But anyway,
they are.
Yeah. But see, in Miami, bro, Julius Randle can go and he can pout and complain to the ref, and people don't even care as long as the Heat organization is winning. You know what I'm saying? They don't care, and they're not going to take. And listen, don't tell me that the Miami Heat is not going to take a bad attitude player and not turn him into a winner. I don't want to hear it. I've seen it for too many years. I've seen him do it like I've seen him do it like 50
The
50
city
times.
does that though. I think the city does that too. Freezy's just being in Miami down there with the girls and the how you get happier around the coast. I mean, it's just natural.
Right. I saw the Miami Heat draft Michael Beasley. Don't talk to me about culture and all that stuff. And yes, Pat Riley was there, and yes, Spoelstra was there. I've seen the Miami Heat make moves. I've seen Miami Heat do stuff that make you scratch your head. Like Miami, they don't care about your pouting and as long as you in excellent shape, and as long as you are committed to the game, they'll bring you in. Right?
Yeah,
that's the Heat's culture.
And they brought in Dion Waiters, man. Like they do not care.
Yes. They brought in what's the 7-foot center from Sacramento?
Hassan Whiteside.
Whiteside.
They paid him.
And they paid him.
Yep.
So don't talk to me about the Heat not taking Randall. Don't even try it. You know what I'm saying? We're too smart of basketball fans for that, right? These dudes brought in Jimmy Butler after he kicked in doors.
He blew up 2 franchises.
Yes.
He blew up 2 franchises.
And not only did they bring him in, but they maxed him.
Yeah, man. They don't care, man.
They just care about winning, bro. New York, on the other hand, we care.
We got to get goody 2 shoes in here, man. Got to get these nice little.
You got to wipe your feet
good
before
guys.
you come into New York's house. Miami, it's come on in.
Ironically, it used to be the opposite, but now we are pristine.
Yeah.
You know, when you have your Jalen's and your Julius's, your
You care about optics too much.
your Obadiahs, you know what I'm saying? Your Rowans.
You had naming biblical names, Julius's and Annuals, Obadiah.
Isaiah.
You need some D-Lo.
Yeah.
Some street dudes in there. Y'all playing the prep team. You got all the prep team now.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're keeping it real, we have a bunch of AAU babies on this team.
That's what you guys got. AAU squads. Yeah, that's all it is.
And that's the reason. So Dre, if we go in that direction, if that's our route, man, listen, why not go get the most elite of the AAU babies like Zach LaVine? Why not? If that's your route, that's the direction you go in.
If we're calling it just on the skill set, sure, absolutely sure.
Cam
but
Reddish is.
I cannot commit to someone with knee issues on a $200 million contract. I just can't. I can't fathom. I can't fathom it.
They just put out the Reddish is supposed to stay out of the rotation now.
Yeah, because Tibbs is like on 9-man rotation.
What's even better, they said he's not available for comment. I wonder why.
He getting traded.
Yeah.
Cam Reddish to the Golden State Warriors. Y'all gonna get Kuminga. I'm joking.
Man. And at this point though, as a real basketball fan, I've seen Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga is raw.
Yeah, he's
right? Raw. Right. He's not Scotty Barnes.
A little too raw.
He's raw. Right. He's very, very and Moses Moody is not the athlete. He's not the run jump athlete we thought he was. You know how we thought he would be like the second coming of maybe a Jim Jackson or say I think of Moody now as more of an
You got
Allen
it.
Houston type athlete.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Like a pretty good smooth athlete, but he's not Spreewell, right?
He's not
And
overwhelming anybody with his athleticism.
right with his athlete, and then at the same time too, Spreewell was not an in control athlete, smooth athlete like Allen Houston. Spreewell is what you call explosive, right? Allen Houston is what you call smooth. You know what I'm saying?
There's like straight line athletes. That's what he is. Like Allen Houston will go straight line, swoop to the hoop, but he's not going to do the herky jerky like agility stuff. So, came down for you.
Well,
But yeah, to the Zach LaVine point, like
nobody wants Zach LaVine for that money.
Dang it, online shopping. I'm online shopping. The wrong button.
Hit the wrong tab.
Yeah, my bad.
And to be absolutely honest, Zach LaVine is legitimately probably like top 10 most talented in the league if we put like athleticism and skill together.
Yeah.
But the issue is he isn't very good on defense, and like he's making a ton of money while he's gonna perpetually be like an injury watch because he's had 3 resurgences in his career.
Where could he even go? I don't even know a team that could take him. Who has the cap space to take him in?
The Heat could use him. I feel like the Heat could use him over what's his name? Hero.
Biggest cap space in the NBA.
The Knicks could use him.
Pacers, Spurs, Grizzlies. Oh, Grizzlies. Wow.
Yeah.
Now they got Bane. They got Bane at the 2 over there. They set in that back.
Or Bane
they could play him at the 3. They still got JJ and Adams.
So the only team that makes sense right now are the Pelicans. They got cap space. The Pelicans, the Knicks, and the Grizzlies.
Grizzlies make a lot of sense.
Wow. That would be crazy. Zach LaVine and John Morant.
It would be a team we didn't think about like the Kings or something, where they'd make a move to just put him next to De'Aaron or something like that.
Yeah, the Kings
ain't got no space like that. Oh, they got a little bit.
They got space
for a while. Yeah. And the space don't matter, bro. All you gotta do is exchange contracts.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that. I'd have to play around with that calculator I see, but I haven't really got into the contracts that much.
I was watching. You know what I was watching? I was watching that Pacers Warriors game last night, and Tyrese Halliburton was out for the game, and had this young guard, Andrew Nembhard.
Yeah, from Gonzaga.
Yeah, he balled,
second rounder. Yeah, he's a problem. We were on him.
He was giving Stephen Curry the business, and he was destroying that Warriors defense, like breaking it down. Like he got 31, 13, and 8.
Right? I think he's in Team Canada also, right?
He was breaking down the defense like nothing. Like he was looking exactly like Tyrese Halliburton was looking out there. But he had 31, 13, and 8. And he was just taking step back threes, and it was just like, yeah, like they're gonna probably be in a situation where they're gonna keep Tyrese and just trade Nembhard for whoever wants him for the highest price, or try to pair him up in the backcourt. But
they got a lot of they got the most cap space in the NBA. So that's what I'm looking at right now. So I mean, shoot, they can do a lot. They got a lot of talent, man. Rick Carlisle, he's still a winning coach. And he's proven it again. They're winning.
They're winning for now until they trade Miles Turner and Buddy.
But
bro.
I don't think they're winning.
I don't think they traded him. I don't think they traded him, man.
I mean, Miles Turner didn't play last night, and they still beat the Warriors. So,
and I'm gonna tell y'all this, bro. Don't see. The thing is with Indiana's young core, people look at Halliburton and Ben Mathurin, and neither of which are consistently the Pacers' best players. The Pacers also have Isaiah Jackson, Jalen Smith, and Chris Duarte.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, Duarte's been out for a minute with injuries, I think.
Yeah. But you know they don't miss him because Mathurin is there.
Yeah.
But at some point, but think about this. At some point, the Pacers are going to roll out a lineup of Halliburton, Mathurin, Duarte, Jackson, Jalen Smith, and Nimert coming off the bench. And they put that together in a year and a quarter.
Yeah, they are a deep team, man. They got Daniel Matisse, they got Bitsods, they're a deep team, dude.
They're Jay, you might but yeah, they built their team on modern basketball principles.
Right.
So like they have a lot of guys that can pass, dribble, shoot, and they're not small guards by any stretch of the imagination. They're all like 6'5", 6'6". Yeah.
Yeah, and
he may not give that from his look, but he plays physical.
Who's that?
Yeah, and Nimmer is a physical guard, bro. He is he is what the Bulls want Ayo to be, right?
Yeah.
Nimmer is Ayo is a good guard in the Bulls system. I think if you take him out of the Bulls system, play him somewhere else, he's a bench guy, right?
He's out for pain.
Yeah. Well, you said it, I didn't, but you know what I'm saying. But what I'm getting at is this. At the same time, the Pacers did that, right? And they're still not finished. All those vets that Selly named, they're going to trade them dudes too.
Yeah.
Why do they have to re-sign Miles Turner? They don't.
Right.
They don't want to.
Jalen Smith and Zeke Jackson are going to offer the same stuff. And probably with once you get Jalen Smith in there, bro. Listen, and yes, Jalen Smith came out in the OB draft to the Phoenix Suns. Yep.
And the Suns were trying to win now, and they got rid of him because there was no place for him behind their center Ayton. Yeah, there's no place for him.
Jalen Smith's been a baller, man. Even I used to watch him when he was on Maryland. Like,
yep.
And that was the Knicks roster. Tibbs will be having Buddy Hield playing ahead of our boy Benny.
Oh, of course. They'll be running pick and roll with Buddy Hield over Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton would be the corner boy. He would be sitting in the corner waiting for the ball.
They got so many guards. The Pacers have so many guards.
Bro.
Guard.
Bro.
Wacko in the chat. They're not trying to be contenders. They're just competing right now with young talent. They may fall off because young players tend to be inconsistent and they can fall off, but you can see the blueprint, you can see the talent that they'll have in the long run. They're not contending for anything, and they have a better record than us, even though we have $100 million guys on our team.
Right. And plus they're being coached up by Rick Carlisle.
Yeah. Rick's a good coach.
Yeah,
I can't wait for the day this dark cloud leaves MSG.
Rose cloud?
It's the dark cloud. It's been hovering over our head for too long.
I'm tired. Once the new millennium came in,
I'm tired. I'm tired.
Hey, but Jay, listen, we're in the 21st century, right? So we've got 10 more centuries of this, and then it's over, bro. We got one more millennium of this, and then it's over.
It's amazing the way you said it. You was like the Pacers in a year and a half just already got a better young core.
A year and a quarter.
The Pistons in like a year. Just, right? The Magic's in it's just like
the Pistons
these guys
aren't
are going
there
to
yet,
pass
though.
us by.
But
they still have the backcourt. They have their backcourt of the future, though.
Yeah, they have their backcourt of the future with Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey, and Cade.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if they're going to keep Killian, but Killian's looking like an NBA player.
Durant is looking pretty good.
And don't sleep on his man. Listen, don't sleep on his defense, bro, and his leadership. The thing about guys that can't score like him, people used to say the same stuff about Chauncey Billups. When people forget that Chauncey Billups only played like half a season with Boston before he was traded to Toronto. Right? People forget about the Toronto Chauncey Billups.
They forget the Minnesota year too.
Yeah, man. Killian Hayes was drafted young, and we knew he was young. It was like, hey, he's 19, but he's really like 17. You know what I'm saying? The same thing with Frank. Like when we drafted Frank at 19, Frank was really like 16. You know, I'm talking about upstairs and all. You know how you adapt to stuff, right? So, and I'm not saying that Frank was a baby, but listen, Frank still. I saw Frank dribble between his legs for the first time in a game Saturday, and Frank is 24. Jay, am I lying?
Oh man.
Oh no, I'll take that back. He did sauce up. We played the Wizards one night, and I think Michael Jordan got into Frank's body for like 42 seconds because he called for an ISO on Bradley Beal and sauced him up and threw up the prettiest brick you ever saw in your life. But Bradley Beal fell on the ground, put his hand on it. Y'all know, like, oh, look at that.
And then so 2-cent finish. $100 move, 2-cent finish.
Yes. And then he came and ISO'd, like did the half span like he's gonna back down Bill and backed up and sauced up Bill. And he threw up an air ball that was the prettiest air ball you ever saw in your life. You know what I'm saying? But we was like, yo, Michael Jordan just got in Frank's body for like 40 seconds.
And that's the problem with the Knicks. Like we don't embolden our players to consistently. It took Frank to hit 2 open jumpers for him to come down and have the confidence to go into any move. Like that's what it always took, like Frank. And he never took very many shots. So
I hope you guys have a nice rest of your day. I got a jet.
Yeah, me too, fellas.
Peace, Sally.
I got a piece.
Peace, Sally. Peace, Jay. That was.
Bo Ismail trolling, right? Bo says Frank stay trying to dunk on people. No, he only tries to dunk on Porzingis.
He got Rudy Gobert.
Oh yeah. So he only dunk on people he know.
Yeah.
He only try to dunk on people he know. Yeah, that's right.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. Man, listen. I guess I may as well get out of here too,
Wrap
this thing up. Yeah, wrap this thing up because I'm gonna try to do something later on today. Dre, you going to any games this year?
I went to a game already this year, but I wanna go to one in March. I think, but
how much
I'm gonna one. Oh, you might just cut in real loud just then. You good though?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you good. You're good.
How much are the tickets generally like in March, like in the city?
What section?
Where are you sitting at? That's how I was asking.
Because usually when I go towards the end of the season, the tickets aren't as bad around towards the end of March. So like you can get anywhere in the 200s for a little bit over 100, but it's not terrible. It's not horrific compared to what I paid when I tried to get in when I went to that Atlanta game in the playoffs. I spent way too much. I spent like $700 on some tickets.
Yeah, man.
And we lost.
So what is the suite run?
I couldn't tell you. I actually don't know. Because I usually have like a suite where like we all Lawrence Tears fam show up.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't know. Like I think there's like a whole payment plan thing that you do for it.
Dude, I'm in conversations with a man with MSG and for a number of things. But I think they were looking to do $7,200 for a Brooklyn game at the Garden for a suite.
Oh, okay. What time in the season is that? Like what month is that?
I forgot. It's in the email. I need this. I'll find it. I'll talk to you about it on a later show.
Bo, sometimes you gotta laugh to keep from crying, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be. Hey, look, man. If I didn't laugh, I would be bawling my eyes out over it. Man, I'll be okay.
Wacko said 250. Roll 300 around 250.
Yeah.
That ain't bad.
That ain't bad at all.
But for me, it's a little bit different since I don't live in a city. I gotta decide whether to drive to the city or rent a car when I get there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then I gotta decide, where am I gonna stay at? Do I stay out on the island and then drive into the city, which is, or do I get a hotel do I get a hotel room in the city?
And that's even more. So.
Yeah. And I'm talking about a good. I ain't talking about no.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying. In the city, yeah, you do it up. You don't work as hard as you do just to go halfway on something.
Right.
I'm just saying. What game would you like? That Brooklyn Nets game would probably be a good game to go to for us in a suite or something like that. But I have to see.
Right, because we're already doing one in Orlando. See, the suite in Orlando is $2,000, and then plus we'll have to pay for parking and catering. But it's going to be about 20 of us, so it's like we paying $100 a piece plus food.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's nothing, right?
And I heard Orlando's stadium is pretty nice.
Yeah, the
the
atmosphere
arena's
is
nice.
Atlanta's atmosphere. I mean, I'm sorry, not Atlanta. Orlando's
Orlando.
atmosphere is dope. Orlando's atmosphere is dope. It's a shame that nobody goes to the games. It's a Knicks home game.
I mean, I'm sure it's nice when like if the Knicks are up by a ton, all the Knicks fans are just showing out at that point.
Yeah, man, and the dopest, and Bo to what Bo he says, Orlando suites are dope. The dopest, because I've been to a lot of different arenas, right? The dopest suites, depending on who you are. If you're just a jock that just loves sports, the dopest suite is Atlanta because they have all the food. Dre, they have a hot dog buffet, right?
Yeah,
and it's all the hot dogs you've ever seen in your life. You're like, dog, they got bratwurst, they got Roger Woods, they got all these hot dogs, sausages, and all this thing. And it's on that carousel, the silver carousel that you see or whatever. And then beside it, they have all the toppings, yellow mustard, brown mustard, gourmet mustard, all the different ketchups, the spicy ketchup, regular ketchup. Bro, I'm telling you,
they hit you with that garlic aioli. That's what
all of it, and it's fresh, bro. They make it right there in front of you. They make it in a, they take like a stick thing and they mash it right there in front of you. You can smell it, bro. It's because they have a chef. They have a chef over all the suites, and then they have a chef for each suite.
I've only been in a suite in Yankee Stadium, and I barely remembered it because I was drunk the whole time. So I guess that wasn't. I guess that wasn't the best use of my money.
Probably not. But Atlanta though, Atlanta and Charlotte, Joe. I'm telling you, Charlotte. I went. Matter of fact, we rocking again in Charlotte Friday, right? Last year in Charlotte, bro, the chef was like, "Big man, how you like your steak?" Right? And I was like, "What?" He's like,
What?
"How you like your steak?" He's like, "How you like your steak? You holding up the line?" And I was like, "I'm in line." I was like the only one in a line, right?
They put you on your toes. Yeah, to start thinking quick, making decisions.
Yeah. Man, Dre in Charlotte, bro, the thing was so beautiful, bro. They had a cookie buffet, right? Like the cookie start, and I'm not a big cookie eater, right? But they had every type of cookie that you want, and it was like coming fresh out of this roll oven and slowly falling into this thing. It was like a cookie waterfall, kind of like real slow.
There's creative ways to get people to spend money.
Spend money, bro. That's what I'm saying. And so the thing about it is because I've never been in a suite in the Garden, right?
Yeah,
I've never been in a suite in the Garden. I've been to the Garden 1,000, 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000 times, right? In the nosebleeds, and every time I go to the Garden in the nosebleeds, we lose, right?
So we're trying to switch it up.
Yeah.
Some good juju.
Yeah. And so we went to, so it's Orlando, Charlotte, DC. I don't go to the suites in DC because DC basically has the best view, the best seats in the NBA is the Wizards. You don't need
I heard you talk about that. I've never been to Been to that arena. I've been to
Yeah,
like maybe 6 or 7 up on the East Coast, but I haven't actually been to that one. I've
yeah.
been to TD.
Philly
I've
is
been to
trash
TD. Philly's garbage.
Yeah.
This is why I don't like anything about Philadelphia at all. I
at all.
despise the city. I don't like the city. I don't like the people.
Period.
No offense if there's any Philadelphia people. I don't like your city.
And I got and shout out to all the Ruffins and Philly. Those are my people, right? The Ruffins are up in Philly.
Y'all women don't look good either, and I'm standing by that.
And and the cheesesteak and the Philly cheesesteak is overrated.
Facts.
The Philly cheesesteak is overrated, bro. But like a dude asked me, he was like, "Yo, New York slice or Philly cheesesteak?" And I'm like, "Yo, I'm getting 2 New York slices. It ain't even
What kind of question is that?
Yeah.
And the crazy people from Chicago that keep trying to pass the casserole off as pizza.
Oh God.
It's not pizza.
Drake,
that is lasagna. That is one layer's lasagna.
And they trying to do it. And they trying to do it in Detroit.
Oh yeah, they have Detroit deep dip. I'm like, nah, man, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. If you can't fold your slices, it's not real pizza.
If you can't fold it, it's not real pizza. Period. That's just what it is. But Orlando is man a great experience. Atlanta is a great experience. Atlanta is everybody is like down to earth in Atlanta. Like that, like there's no bougie-ness in Atlanta except for the bougie crowd, right? But in other areas like you in Nashville or I'm sorry in Memphis, you'll get the regular folk and then the elite, and you can tell who they are, right?
By the clothes,
But yeah, and the way they act and the noise, like you know, what I'm saying?
The regular folk be in there with their jersey on, and the other folks would just be in there with whatever they felt like whatever they felt like stunting in.
Yeah, but I was in there, and I think I told the story before, real quick before I get out of there. I was in there one time when they went on like I think the Knicks were up by like 7, and they went on like a 50-0 run. And I said we couldn't stop them, bro. It was like no matter how many timeouts you call, no matter how many flagrant fouls you call, you know what I'm saying? No matter what, you could not stop that Gasol kid, right? And so they call like the Knicks throw up a brick and we get the rebound, and all of a sudden everybody, and I mean all 15,000 or so of them are screaming "Whoop that trick" from that movie Hustle and Flow. And it was like the dopest and scariest thing you ever heard at one time.
They actually embrace the culture of Memphis around in their arena. And they lean into it. They lean into it for sure.
Yeah, man. Unlike places like Phoenix, who embrace the New York culture, like when you go to a Phoenix Suns game, it's more like a New York or urban, or it's like a culture. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's almost like a bootleg LA kind of deal when you get in there. It's like
and see in LA, and I've never been in Staples or Crypto or whatever they call it.
I have.
Right. But
it's kind of sterile in there. It's kind of just bland. But they do,
right?
But what they do take from Madison Square Garden, they put all the lights on the court, and it's dark all the way around the arena, like it's a stage, like it's a center stage. So like the product is the court. And nothing else. You don't really get distracted by everything else that's going on.
Right.
You know, they do have a lot of concessions. But,
they do that in DC, bro. And I swear in DC, it's like you sitting in your living room. That's why I can't for the life of me figure out why the Wizards aren't winning.
And when the Wizards do win, the fans come out and support. Like I've seen them in the 2000s, and then to a lesser extent when they made their little playoff runs. The fans so support when they put a good product out there.
Right.
And they can get rabid too.
But I think their fan base has been neutralized by poor Wizards play and by Dan Snyder of the Redskins just ruining your experience as a sports fan. Right. You know
That
what I'm saying?
makes complete
Because
sense.
if you go to a Washington Capitals game,
Yeah, I
bruh,
bet you it's live in there.
lit.
But that's what happens when you have a superstar in that franchise for like 20 years.
You know what? Good point. Good point. You have
Well,
an excellent.
when you think of a roster, it's like, oh, you mean I'm gonna go see Ovechkin? Okay, that's just a given. That's kind of
Right.
like incentive to go to Knicks games back in the 90s and 80s because you know you're gonna see one guy show up. It's gonna be
On the
Pat.
big
Pat's gonna be
stage.
there. Pat's gonna be there no matter what. Even if he's iced up with 30 pounds of ice on his knees during each timeout, he's gonna be
Duffel
there.
bag full of ice on his knees. Yep. He gonna play. He gonna
so
ball.
so it was like the New York Patricks for a minute. That's what it was.
Wait. But anyway, brother, let me get out of here, man, so I can do some stuff with the rest of my day. You know what I'm
All right,
saying?
man.
Before I have people calling me like, you said that you was gonna send over the agreement, and I mocked them, bro, because um I send them stuff. Like I send people email people stuff all the time. And I'm like, yo, hurry up. This is time sensitive. Send it back within the next, 48, 72 hours. Right.
Yeah.
And then they'll send it back like in 2 weeks. Like, oh my, I forgot. I didn't know. Okay.
Right.
All right. You didn't see the exclamation point
Urgent.
or the capital urgent before the title. Right. You didn't see none of that stuff. Like when it show up in your email box, it should have a red exclamation point, and the title is gonna have urgent in all caps before my title, before whatever the title of the email is. Right?
Sounds like incompetence. But
It
yeah.
sounds like people with money don't have normal people problems. That's what it is.
Exactly. But if you get on for Knicks at night, I'll be there.
Yeah, we will, because we got to do an Atlanta Hawks preview.
Okay, bet.
All right, boss.
It's nice
All right,
chatting.
y'all. Thank y'all, everybody, for coming out, man. We'll holler at y'all later. Thanks for joining.
All right, bet. Peace.